Welcome to Pyjama Pilates. So we're going to find yourself a comfortable position. So whether that's on your bed tonight or on a mat. If you're on a mat, you might want a little small cushion. Just make sure it's not too big. And the same, if you're on your bed, just make sure you don't have a massive cushion behind you, because sometimes that's going to just overextend the neck a little bit. So when we're doing some movements, it just might be a little bit too much range for you. So just try and keep your spine in what we call as much of a neutral alignment as possible. So just bending the knees, feet around hip width if that's comfortable. If they need to be wider, that's fine. And just making sure that the knees aren't falling in or locking out. Just bringing your arms down by the side of the... Actually, no, let's bring the hands just onto the sides of the rib cage. We're just going to take a few breaths here, become aware of our breath and the connection with our deep abdominals and our pelvic floor. So keeping the elbows nice and wide, just relaxing yourself down. You're just going to take a little breath in through the nose. Really feeling deep the sides and the backs of the rib cage. Just start to expand, just start to lift. Breathing into your fingers. Then as you exhale, either through the mouth, through the nose, whatever's more of a preference for you, start to feel those ribs. Just gently close in. We're going to go again. So shutting your eyes, just try to feel all the release, the stress away from the jaw, the mouth, the tongue. Just feel the weight of the head. Just let it sink down into the mat, into your bed. Let the chest start to be heavy, the backs of the ribs, and also the back of the pelvis. Just breathing in, closing your eyes, and releasing. Now I want you to bring your breath, but I want you to bring it into your tummy. So as you breathe in, start to fill your abdominals up, just letting it rise and rise. And then releasing all that air out, almost to the point where you can start to feel those abdominals knit together. So one more breath going into the deep belly. So breathing in, just feeling that whole tummy rise and lift. And exhaling, just letting it sink all the way back down. Now coming back to your breath into your lungs. So placing our hands back on the ribs if they move to your tummy. Breathing in, breathing into your hands. So not the tummy this time, we're breathing into the sides, into the backs of the ribs. And then releasing it. We're going to do 2 more of these. And with this breath, on the exhale, this is where I want you to just start to become aware of the connection between those deep abdominals and the pelvic floor. So it's just this little lift, a little in lift, like you're zipping up a zipper. So we're not bracing anything out, we're simply getting this little lift from the pelvic floor muscle to those deep abdominal muscles. So it's not a big movement, it's just an awareness that is there. Good. And then after this breath, you can bring your arms back down by the side of the body, ears away from the shoulders. Start to feel hopefully a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more heavy, because we're going to start to work through our hips a little bit. So I'm going to start with that right leg. I want you to just gently slide it away, keeping it in line with the hip, just sliding it away and just bringing those toes slightly towards your nose. So we're just getting this little stretch up through the hip and down the leg. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, gently slide that foot back to the starting position. And then we're going to alternate to the other side. So let's breathe in to prepare, exhaling, slide that heel away, flex the foot so the toes are slightly towards your nose. Hold here, breathe, and then exhale, gently slide that leg back to the starting position. Going again. So we're just going to alternate in your own time to each side. So we're sliding that leg away, flexing the toes, breathe in, and then exhaling, sliding that leg back in. So while we're doing this, I want you to think about that little connection I mentioned earlier. So that gentle little connection in those tummy muscles. Just alternating from side to side into your own time. Everything else is staying relaxed and heavy, so no movement in the pelvis. The spine is staying lengthened. The head is staying heavy. Sliding away, flexing the feet, and then bringing it back. So on the next one, we're just going to keep the leg there for a moment. We're just going to add a little bit of movement into that foot. So the toes are towards your nose, but then I want you to point that toe away. Bring your toes towards your nose, and then point that toe away. One more, breathing in, flex your foot. Exhaling, point the toe away. And then just making some small little circles with that ankle. About 3 one way and 3 the other. And then bring your toes slightly towards your nose again as you slide that leg back to the starting position. Let's go over to the other side. So let's reach that heel away. Flexing your foot so it's towards your nose and then pointing it away. So flexing it and pointing it. So Lee, just making sure that you're not over flexing the foot too much. Just a gentle movement. Just being mindful not to go beyond any range. 3 circles. And then 3 the other way. And then flexing that foot again. Gently sliding the leg back in. Good. So from here, we're just going to work through our shoulders a little bit. So we're going to start by reaching both arms up and having them over your shoulders, just palms facing towards each other. And then I want you to take a breath in as you reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Just let that little lift from the scapula come away from your mat or your bed. And then just exhale, lowering it back down. Other side, you're breathing in, reaching those fingertips slightly towards the ceiling, feeling that lift in the scapula, and then lowering it back down. One more to each side, so we're reaching that hand up and lowering it back down. Other side, reaching that hand up and lowering it back down. Turn the palms now to face your knees. You're going to take your left arm all the way down to your left hip. And then start to reach your right arm overhead so it frames your head. So the arm is now in line with my ear. So just watch that you're just not letting the arm collapse. We're going to try and use those tummy muscles to keep your arm in a nice alignment. Bend your knees soft, bend your elbows softly if you need to. If you've got a wide range of movement. And then take that arm back over chest where we're going to just swap over into our backstroke arms. So breathing in, arms come over chest, exhaling, swapping them over. So the key here is to just try and keep your spine really stable, nice and long, as well as keeping your pelvis really heavy. So thinking about that little lift in the tummy, almost like you're pushing your belly button slightly back, just to help keep the spine stable. You've got one more. Making sure you're even. And then you can bring your hand back over chest and then just lower them all the way back down towards the floor. I want you to turn both palms now the other way. So the palms are facing the ceiling. Just making sure that the shoulders haven't gathered up towards your ears. We're then going to bend both elbows like you're giving your shoulders a bit of a high five. And then close. So breathing in and exhaling. Now, if you ever wanted to do this with a bit of a challenge, you could always hold some small weights or some bottles of water if you just wanted to add a little bit of a challenge. Just keeping your eyes closed. Just doing one more of these. Try and keep your rib cage nice and soft and heavy into the mat or your bed. And then after this one, just lower the hands and then turn the palms to face the ceiling again. Ceiling, the mat. Making your elbows a little bit wider, we're going to bring our hands onto our hip bones. And we're going to come into some knee drops. So again, if you've got a big range of movement, I want you to stop halfway to what you probably normally would. It's very easy that you just want to keep opening that hip out to the side so the whole pelvis is rolling. So this is where our tummy muscles are really going to engage. Relaxing the chest, keeping it open. Let's take a little breath in, and as you exhale, I want you to gently open your right knee out to the side so the foot rolls onto the out of the edge, and then pause it. Use that engagement, use those tummy muscles. Hold this position, and then exhaling, closing that knee back to the starting position. Other side. Exhale as we open that knee out to the side. We're going to hold this position, breathe in, and then close that knee back in. So again, we're just going to alternate from side to side. Doesn't have to be a big movement. We're simply opening up that hip joint laterally. It's just a small movement. Our hands keeping on top of our hip bones will give you feedback of whether there is any movement happening into your pelvis. So we're trying to keep the pelvis really stable. We're going to do one more to each side. Keep breathing. And then after the last one, just bringing both knees back where you can stretch out both legs away from the body. Just flexing the feet and then pointing the feet. Just flexing and pointing. And then gently slide one by one the feet back in, bringing your hands by the side of the body. So from here, we're going to come into some single knee folds. So again, really good for our hips and our knees. So I want you to lift your right heel up. I'm going to take a little breath in, and as you exhale, draw that knee in towards the body. Don't take it too far. We want to keep it roughly in line with the hip. Feel that tummy have to squeeze and engage. We're not using it. The leg just wants to collapse inwards. So maintain, and then gently lower that foot back down with control before going over to the other side. So breathe in and lower. Lift the heel first. Draw that knee in. Try and keep it in line with the hip. Nice 90-degree angle with the knee and lower. Coming up and lower. Now, if you want more of a challenge, you can bring your arms over your shoulders and do it as such. Just making sure those shoulders haven't creeped up towards the ears. We're going to do one more set. Nice and controlled. And then lower the hands down and reset. We're going to come into rib cage closure now. So we're going to take both arms overhead. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to reach them all the way towards the back rim. So watching those ribs, softening those ribs down, engaging through your tummy. Soft elbows if you're hypermobile. And then we're going to take the arms all the way back over and down. Two more like this. Breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in and exhaling. One more like this. Breathing in, exhaling. Breathing in, exhaling. Bring your hands back over your shoulders. Turn the palms to face each other. We're going to come into single arm fly. So breathing in, opening one arm up to the side. Exhale. Other side, breathing in. Exhale. Breathing in. Exhale. Just be mindful that you're not locking the elbows. Trying to keep that spine really stable. You've got one more set. Exhale. Breathing in. Exhale. And then turn the palms to face your knees and lower the arms all the way back down. We're going to come into some spinal rotation now. So we're going to open the arms quite wide into our low V. And you're going to bring your ankles, your thighs, your knees together. Now again, take this movement very, very slowly because we're coming into the spinal rotation. So I want you to keep your shoulders glued into the mat. On your next exhale, you're just going to gently take both knees over to the right, so that left hip lifts slightly, but scoop that belly so you're pushing the belly button slightly towards the back of your spine, and stop just a few inches taking those knees over. It's not a big movement. Breathe in, hold, and then exhale, take your legs back to the center where we're going to go on the other side. So that top foot is now on the bottom foot. So we're gently rotating the spine, but keep those shoulders connected. It's very easy to over-rotate. That's not what we're after. So we're trying to keep our top half really relaxed, keeping the shoulders heavy. We're going to just do 2 more to each side. So gentle movement, just a few inches. Use your tummy to help with the facilitation of that movement. So think about scooping that belly button slightly back towards your spine and breathe. Now I do say the breathing, but at any point you get lost, just breathe normally, but just don't hold your breath. So when you've done a nice even amount, just getting a little bit of spinal rotation, you're going to bring your legs back to center and then just walk your feet out back to being about hip width or wider if you need. And then the arms can come back down by the side of the body. Good. We're going to just come back into that single knee fold. And I want you to grab hold of your thigh with your hands. So you're almost pulling your thigh into your hands, but trying to pull your thigh into your body. So we've got a wake up, we've got a connection through the leg. I want you to gently just lift that shin, not too high. And we're going to do something called cherry picking. So we're going to work through the feet. So just making sure that the other leg is not rolling in or out. We've got a nice bit of sacral support. I want you to spread your toes and then scrunch them up. Spread the toes, scrunch them up. Spread the toes, scrunch them up. And then keep them scrumped while you start to take your foot towards your nose and then release the toes. So we're flexing, scrunch the toes up like you're holding a cherry, and then take that cherry slightly back and release. So we're working through the foot now. So it's not an easy movement. You might not get any movement in the foot as well, but we're trying to spread the toes, imagining you're picking something up with your toes, and then flex the foot towards your nose and release. And do 1 more. Spread the toes. Imagine you're picking something up with your toes. Draw the toes, still scrunched up, holding whatever you're holding, release. And then just gently pull that leg in. So you should have probably felt the thigh working in there a little bit. So just holding that leg in. If it feels okay, you can stretch out the other leg. Again, just being mindful of your hips, not putting that knee in too far. Just taking a little breath in. And then releasing. And sliding the other leg up. Just wiggle the feet if you need to, if they got a little bit crampy there. Going over to the other side. So coming into that single knee fold first. And then grabbing the back of the thigh, keeping your chest nice and open. Take your shin a little bit higher so you can see your toes, but not so high, so we've got a nice bend in the knee. I want you to spread those toes now, and then screw them up like you're trying to pick something up. Just do this a few more times. Spread the toes, screw the toes up. Spread the toes, screw them up. And now on the next one, spread the toes, screw them up, keep them screwed up as you draw them towards your ankle or towards your nose and release. Spread, scrunch like you're picking something up, take it over, so we're flexing the ankle, release. So let's do 1 more of these. So flex, Pick something up with your toes. Take it over towards your ankle on your nose and then release. And then just relax that leg into your hands, into the body. Lengthen the other leg away if that feels okay. Now, some of you might find that really hard. So usually we have a stronger foot as well. But just having a quick little breather here. And then just carefully lowering the feet down. So we're going to come into some pelvic tilts now. And then come into a spine curl. Now just be very careful if you're on your bed, particularly, especially if you've got a very squishy bed, just be careful with this because you're going to have a bit of an unstable feet. So it might be better for you just to sort of do a few little pelvic tilts to get some mobilization into the hips and the lower part of the spine. So I want you to think about your pubic bone and your tailbone. Now the pubic bone, I want you to imagine you're slightly tucking it towards your nose so you can feel a bit of release into your lower back. And place your hands onto your hips. Don't force it, it's a small movement. And then just relax that pelvis back down. So again, breathe in, little tuck of that tailbone like it's coming towards your nose. Feel that little release, that flatten into the lower back. And then just relax the pelvis. We're going to come into the spine curl now. So we're going to do that movement. So we've brought the tailbone slightly towards our nose. And then just gently start to lift the spine up and away to your base of your shoulders. If you've got a head cushion, you really want to remove that away so we've got a nice alignment through the neck. So come into the base of your shoulders and then just gently lowering that spine back down, bone by bone by bone. Feel that release in the lower back. Think about that tailbone towards your nose and then just relax the pelvis. I'm only going to do one more of these. So we're going to start, tuck that tailbone, start to wheel and peel the spine up and away, small movement. Come into the base of your shoulders. A little breath in here and then exhaling, gently lowering that spine back down. Feel that release. And then just relax the pelvis back down. Good. So from here, we're going to come into some knee circles. So I want you to come back into that little double, that single leg fold that we did. Nice 90-degree angle. Now I want you to imagine your hip is a spoon and we're going to just be stirring it into the hip joint. So you can place your hands back onto your hips. Keep zipping up through that center, so that little connection through the deep abdominals. We're just going to start to make some really small circles with the thigh bone in the hip socket. Don't take it big, about the size of a tennis ball. We're going to just do a few one way before reversing the direction. So try and keep that pelvis really stable. Keep breathing. Try and relax your chest, relax the shoulders, relax the face. Just doing a few circles. And then once you've done both directions, just lower that foot back down. Reset. Coming to the other side. So that single knee fold first. We want the shin to be in a nice 90-degree angle. And then just gently start to stir. It might mean you just want to do a couple. You might want to do more. Just breathing for half a circle and exhaling. And then go in the other direction. Keep thinking about that center, that core stability. And keep your spine and your pelvis really stable. And once you've done an even amount, just gently lowering that foot back down, where we can just lengthen both legs away. And just let everything go for a moment. And we're just going to gently allow our, sorry for the, if you've got restriction into your neck, otherwise just stay in your corpse position and just find a few breaths here. Otherwise you can come into a bit of a neck rotation, just letting your head drop to one side, feeling that release in the neck. Breathing and coming back to center, and then exhaling, going over to the other side. And breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in and exhaling. And And just bend your knees, or you can keep your legs straight if you want. You're just going to take a little moment here, just allowing the body to really sink, to be heavy. In fact, let's just have our arms in a low V position, palms facing the ceiling, and just let everything go. Just want your body to feel completely heavy and relaxed into the mat, into your bed. Close your eyes and just start to let everything melt. So just letting the ribs go, letting the spine do what it wants to do. And just taking this moment for you, starting to become aware of how your body might be feeling now that it's had a little stretch. Just breathing in, breathing out. Now you can either just stay here in your corpse, but if it feels okay, I just want you to bring your arms overhead if that feels comfortable for you. And it'd be nice to do a little side flexion of the spine. So again, just being mindful of taking it too far. But if it feels okay, just grabbing hold of your left wrist and just gently pulling your spine over into just a very gentle little side flexion. Just hold it here for a moment. And as you exhale, just gently bringing that spine back to center before going over to the other direction. So taking hold now of your right wrist, just gently putting that spine over into a little C curve. Just breathing in, breathing out. And releasing the wrist, just coming back to center, where you can take the arms all the way up and then just releasing them back down into the mat. And just start to wiggle those fingers, circle those wrists. And then go in the other direction. Keep wiggling those fingers. And then just starting to make some small circles with the ankles again. Both directions. And then just taking everything back down to the mat. So I'm actually going to leave you both in your corpse position, and I'd like you to just take your time, or whoever's watching this video at another time, just staying in your relaxation corpse position and just having 5 minutes for you, as long as you need. And then when you're ready to come up, just taking your time, keeping your eyes closed, keeping them covered. Thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely evening, and hopefully feeling a little bit more stretched, a little bit more relaxed. And I look forward to seeing hopefully some of you all the following week. So take care, and hopefully see you soon.